Preston's lawyer tried to spin it as an insanity defense, but the psychologist testified that Preston absolutely knew right from wrong. He just didn't care about the harm he caused other people. Tuesday afternoon, the prosecutor called with huge news that 2 more of Preston's exes wanted to testify. One of them still had the restraining order from 3 years ago, with documentation of every time he'd violated it. The prosecutor was adding more charges for stalking and harassment based on the pattern of behavior. Every Sunday morning, I kept going to Pilates, and my body was getting stronger than it had ever been. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't see the bulky shoulders Preston complained about. I saw muscles that had carried me through the worst time of my life. I posted a photo on Instagram not to show off my body, but because my smile finally looked real again. The weeks passed in a blur of lawyer meetings and prep sessions until Friday finally came, and my mom's flight landed at JFK. She hugged me so tight at arrivals that I could barely breathe. Back at my apartment, she kept touching everything like she was making sure it was real. We ordered Thai food and sat on my couch while she looked around at my new place with all its safety features. Her eyes got wet when she saw the security system panel by the door. She kept saying I looked different, stronger, but also harder somehow. That night, she slept in my guest room, and I actually slept through the whole night without checking the locks even once. 5 days later, we were at the courthouse for jury selection, and there was Preston across the room looking like he'd lost 20 pounds. His suit hung loose on him, and those perfect cheekbones looked sharp enough to cut glass. He kept trying to catch my eye, but I stared at the table in front of me while my lawyer took notes. When he figured out I wasn't going to look at him, he started muttering stuff under his breath until his lawyer grabbed his arm. The next morning, the prosecutor laid out Preston's pattern of abuse with screenshots and recordings and timelines on a big screen. Preston's lawyer painted me as some crazy attention seeker who planned everything to ruin his life because he dumped me. A few jurors frowned when he said Preston was the real victim of cancel culture. Friday morning came too fast, and suddenly I was on the witness stand for 4 straight hours going through every single thing that happened. The prosecutor had me walk through each piece of evidence while Preston's lawyer kept interrupting to object. During cross-examination, his lawyer kept pushing about how I wanted revenge and was trying to get famous from this. I kept my voice steady and just stuck to the facts even when he got nasty about my social media posts. When I talked about being scared to leave my apartment, some jurors looked really worried. That afternoon, Sophia took the stand and brought the security footage from the studio showing Preston trying to get in when he was never a member. She had all the sign-in sheets proving he'd never been there before. That day, he showed up screaming. Her voice got hard when she described how scared her other clients were. Monday morning, Miranda showed up with a whole binder of printed screenshots and walked the jury through every fake account Preston made. She showed them side-by-side comparisons proving the deepfake photos were edited from my Instagram. When she put the edited photos on the screen, a woman on the jury actually gasped. That afternoon, they brought in someone I'd never seen before, this small blonde woman who looked terrified. She was Preston's ex from 3 years ago, and she told the same exact story as mine, but worse. She had to move from Boston to Miami just to get away from him after he kept showing up at her job. She cried when she described finding him in her apartment one night just sitting on her couch in the dark. Tuesday morning, Preston demanded to testify even though his lawyer kept shaking his head no. He started out calm, but every time the prosecutor questioned something, he said his face got redder. He kept changing his story about why he was at the studio, and first said he was worried about me, then said I invited him, then said he had a right to be there. When the prosecutor showed him his own texts, he claimed they were taken